chat? Do you ever have to check the weather report before you fuck?
Hello and welcome to another episode of Cheap Smut. My name is Katie Mizell.
And my name is Carl Mizell.
And this is a podcast that would like to welcome you to Season 3, Take 2. How are you, my love?
Well, they wouldn't have known it was take two if you hadn't said anything.
No, they wouldn't have known, but I know.
Well, you sounded like you were halfway across the room. It was really weird.
Yeah,
but
audio difficulties to start Season 3.
Well, it's normal. We're coming out of a hiatus. We haven't seen each other at all in the last 8 weeks.
We separate for 8 weeks out of it.
We take the hiatus very seriously. We
absolutely not.
We just fuck off from each other. I haven't seen you. This is sort of like we're treating it like a wedding. Like I was wondering what you were gonna wear for the premiere. Turns out it's the same thing you wear all the time.
Yep.
The comfiest clothes imaginable.
Yes. I live my life in absolute comfort.
Yeah.
As I think our ancestors would want.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Quick housekeeping note. You did not hear a new theme song at the outset. We are still working on that. Turns out making music is hard.
Yes.
But we are working on it alongside my friend of 30 years and Patreon patron, Rob Gatika, who is helping me work on that. So we're working through it. I know we had a goal to get it done by season 3. Didn't happen. So we will get that as soon as possible. Now that that's out of the way, how are you?
I'm pretty good, thank you. I am pretty good. I'm excited. I'm excited to start telling you stories again. Well, sort of again. I never stopped telling you, but now you put a microphone in front of my face again. Hooray.
Yeah. Yes, I got the microphones out for this occasion. It's nothing. That's pretty much the podcast. People don't understand. Nothing changes from day to day. It's just that the podcast has microphones and a bit more structure.
Yep. I write a script as opposed to the normal bullshit that just tumbles out of my brain pan.
Yeah. Just
sometimes for the show, I actually scoop up that bullshit and craft it into something.
Yeah. Tries to, mold it into a story.
Yes.
And with that said, what have you chosen to kick off the 3rd season of America's premier smutty podcast, Cheap Smut?
I have chosen Bowling with Bigfoot by Eden Crowe.
You've said the title a couple of times.
Yep.
It's funny every time.
It's funny every time. It really is. But Bowling with Bigfoot by Eden Crowe. Eden Crowe, friend of the podcast, in as much as I knew her on social media and I was like, I bet we'll be friends. And I was right. Because I reached out to her and I was like, do you want to be my friend? In the way that I always do.
I love how you've simplified. I know it's a common trope. Like, how do I make friends in my 30s? You start a podcast,
yes, about
a very specific thing that you like, and then as people wander into your eye line, either social media eye line or physical eye line, hey, friend, you might friend,
yes,
friend, cool.
Mine. I like your vibe.
Yep, vibes, friends,
yep.
Friends. That's
how I do it.
Yeah,
I have a whole list of phone numbers in my phone now that I never would have had if I hadn't started this podcast and then gone, friend.
Yeah.
Friend. If not friend, why friend shaped?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't have a lot of friends. I know I tend to just tell people they're my friend now, which doesn't always sound great coming out of a large man.
Oh, yeah. You're my friend.
Yeah. Like Lenny and the Rabbit sort of kind of.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah, that's how I treat friendships sometimes. So I'm not great at it. That's why I have like the same 2 friends I've had, one since birth practically.
Yeah.
And the other for 30 years.
Yeah. One you're related to.
Yeah, and I'm related to the one that I've known. Well, I didn't know I was related to.
No, you didn't until later. But small towns, you end up finding out you're like 3rd cousins with some dude you didn't realize was your cousin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like that guy you hang out with. Oh yeah, his dad's my cousin. Oh yeah. Cool, Mom. Thanks. But with all that out of the way, with that sort of dime store 23andMe there, let's just get after it. Let's get the deets and get the triple T's and just bang it.
All right. So again, this is Bowling with Bigfoot by Eden Crowe, which you pointed out to me the other day is Eden Crowe. I never even noticed that before. But But there it is, and now I can't stop thinking about it. This book is available for $3.99 or through Kindle Unlimited, $9.99 for an Amazon paperback. And when I was looking up this information, that paperback, I think, was 60% off. Are they on sale right now, Eden? You tell me. But let's get into our triple T's, shall we?
Yes, let's.
All right. Our triggers this week are mentions of death, loss, and grief, discussions of opiate addiction, overdose, and rehab, debt and money, digital sex work, fat main character, and depictions of self-shame or internalized fat phobia. Our tropes, this is an FM cishet romance, human and Sasquatch. It's a cozy romance, meaning our stakes are very low. Supernatural small town, enemies to lovers, and sports rivals.
I was going to say this. I was just gearing up to say this sounds like it's perfect for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said the sports rivals things. But you do see, I mean, you loved Check Please by Ngozi Akazu. Like, I think of sports as adjacent to it, especially if it's hockey. And then I know we've done a couple other sports adjacent
romances.
Yeah, like Pump Fake. There was the other hockey one.
Iced Out.
Trick Shot. Or, yeah, Iced Out.
Iced Out and Trick Shot. Which was hockey adjacent. He wasn't a hockey player. He was the former hockey player.
But this is all like, this is the Venn diagram of Katie's stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I do like the occasional sports romance, same as I like the occasional like sports anime.
Yeah.
But I don't like watching sports because that's a whole different beast.
Totally.
You know?
Totally.
But it's not that I don't appreciate the sport in question. In this case, the sport is bowling.
Fucking
and I love
A.
bowling. Our titillations this week, we have Sasquatch, Sasquatch's dick, fat woman gets railed, sex outdoors, sex on camera, some primal play, light choking, biting, exhibitionism, and voyeurism.
All right. I feel like Sasquatch and Sasquatch's dick could have been implied.
It was, but why when I could actually write out Sasquatch's dick?
It's fun.
It's funny.
No, I agree.
Yeah, Sasquatch is a funny word. I wrote it so many times in my notes that I got semantic satiation. It meant nothing. It was just a string of weird letters.
Sasquatch, just over and over again.
Until it means literally nothing. All right, so this book is book 2 in the Monsters of Mistwood series. The first book is called Dirty Deals Over Decaf, which is a divorcee and demon romance, and it establishes our supernatural small town of Mistwood, West Virginia. Mistwood is in Appalachia, which means that it is on the eastern side of the state of West Virginia and also the eastern side of the continent of North America. Appalachia, for those who aren't familiar with the region, is an area of North America where the oldest mountains in the world are located. Appalachia is so old that it got worn down. It used to be a lot taller. It stretches from what is currently New York to what is currently Mississippi. And a lot of weird shit happens there. Like if you get online and you Google Appalachia, your third or fourth find is going to be a list of things not to do there at night.
Yeah. Because
it's freaky there. The old gods still live there. There's a lot of untamed wilderness still up there.
You'll see a couple of like links to like, aren't these people that live in the backwoods of our country weird and silly? Fuck that shit. It's cruel and mean. And then the rest of it will be, do not fuck around in West Virginia.
Yeah. Aren't they weird and silly, these backwoods hicks who know so much more than you about this?
Yeah, who have survived in this climate, in this area.
Exactly. So when they tell you not to go outside at night in the woods, you fucking listen to them, man. Yeah. You listen unless you really know what you're fucking talking about. You know? Anyway, so this is set in Appalachia. And in this part of Appalachia, in Mistwood, the ley lines underneath the world. Ley lines are sort of weird lines of magnetic field that scientists can't really explain what they're for, right? So people have assigned them a magical quality. In this case, the convergence of ley lines underneath of Mistwood allows the residents there, who are supernatural creatures and cryptids, to appear normal. It gives them the ability to glamour themselves into a more human sort of appearance, I guess.
I wonder if just like big magnets could do it too.
I guess.
Just hang out near a big magnet. No one will ever know that you're a Sasquatch.
Just like a super big electromagnet.
Yep.
I don't know. If they might kill you, you might have to hang out inside of an MRI.
Yeah.
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 I don't know. But Mistwood is a small, idyllic society that a bunch of cryptids and creatures have put together where they can appear more normal and have more normal lives. But it's still a small town in West Virginia. It's not that different. It's just that sometimes people look a little more unusual. It's still just West Virginia, though, which is the best part. So the monsters of Mistwood have a thriving little metropolis. The Mothman is their mayor. They feel safe and happy there. There are businesses. They have some amount of tourism and even some humans who live there sometimes, including our FMC. Her name is Hazel Reed. She's like 27 or 28, somewhere in there. She is redheaded. She's pale. She's 6 feet tall, fat, athletic, very strong, and very capable, physically capable, and also super intelligent.
A little self-insert for Katie here.
Right? Hazel is a former theater kid with...
Go on.
Yeah, this book is about me if I was in a red wig. Fine. So Hazel is a former theater kid who had dreams of going to acting school, but she never got out of Mistwood for reasons that we find out later in the book. One of the few humans who is born and raised there, she works 3 jobs just to make the ends meet, and she is completely okay with everything that happens in this. It's all fucking normal. Yeah. My neighbor is a goat man. And I hate him, but it's because he never mows his lawn at a normal time, not because he's a goat.
He won't let me call him Dr. Dillamond.
Oh, Dr. Dillamond. God, that was a good movie. Anyway, so when Hazel is not working at one of her 3 jobs, she's also very social. And one of the things that she does is she is on the ladies' bowling team, the Ball Busters. And we meet her at the beginning of the book at mixed league night at the local bowling alley, Starlight Lanes. Mixed league night usually means mixed gender league, but there's only really a men's team and a women's team, and that's all they really got. So that's just how they do it here in Mistwood to make mixed league night even happen. So they are competing against the only other team in town, the men's league, the Lane Rangers. So Hazel is having an absolutely terrible night. She's been working way too hard. She's exhausted and she isn't playing well. She should go home and go to bed, but fuck that. This is her favorite night because she gets to, compete and bowl.
Yeah. Fuck no, I'm not missing it. League night.
It's league night.
No one misses league night.
Exactly. So she rolls another gutter ball, and if that wasn't bad enough, her academic rival turned bowling rival and lifelong mortal enemy, Eric Big E Sasqui, mocks her when she rolls that gutter ball. He makes a joke about hiring her to come over and clean his gutters or something. And oh my God, that fucking dick. Eric has been her mortal enemy since grade school when they started competing for the same academic awards, the same achievements. And then it only got worse as they got older. She became a theater kid and Eric became a golden boy jock who could do no wrong. He played multiple sports, set multiple records, and yet still when the time came around to graduate, he was her main competition for valedictorian. She hates this guy.
I hate this guy.
She's like, can you please just fuck off for 2 seconds with being so awesome all the time? You're even better at bowling than me. Fuck you, Eric.
Drunk people do this well.
Yeah. They are both very deeply competitive, and especially with each other, which lends the tension of a sports rivals kind of relationship. Fucking love it. You just eat it with a spoon. So Eric is our MMC, obviously. Eric Sasqui, that's the joke, is Bigfoot. He's a Sasquatch, but he is also what the world currently thinks of as Bigfoot. So the Sasquatch are a...
So to clarify, not all Sasquatch are Bigfoot, but all Bigfoot are Sasquatch.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So the Sasquatch are a large ape-like species that live in the caves and forests that surround Mistwood. But he specifically is Bigfoot in the sense that a few years ago, a picture of him was stolen from the corkboard at the bowling alley and sold to the tabloids. So he is like the public face of what Bigfoot is right now, you know?
Setting those unrealistic Bigfoot standards.
Exactly.
He's a Bigfoot influencer.
So my notes are so funny.
I'm laughing because A, you're hilarious, and B, I love that the Katie I've known for many, many years. Many years ago, you wouldn't have had the confidence to just say that to a microphone, but I love that you do it now.
Yeah.
God, I'm funny.
God, I'm funny. I am. Okay, so my notes specifically say Eric is Bigfoot in the sense that a few years ago, a Polaroid of him in his true form, celebrating right here in this very bowling alley, was stolen right from this very bowling alley. There isn't a lot to do in a small town, can you tell? And published in a tabloid.
Nobody screen grabbed it off of the bowling alley's Facebook page.
No, they just took it.
They just took it
from the corkboard behind the snack bar.
That has the same energy as the famous prank that I told you about that we pulled on the bear.
Oh my God, when you strapped a dildo to a bear statue on Main Street. Yeah.
Yeah. We in Clio, Michigan, if you're from the area, if you're going north on Dort or Saginaw Street where they meet at the old boat store and there's that big bear. Yeah, we strapped a dildo on that big bad boy.
For just a little while, that bear had a dick.
Yep, just a little bit. No telling how long, but it had a dick.
No, probably at least for that night.
Somebody
took it off.
Fashioned up a duct tape truss and made that bear strap on. Duct tape strap on.
Oh my God.
Hello, Cleveland.
We are duct tape strap on. Oi. Oi. Oh my God. Anyway. So Eric's picture being published in the tabloids is a great shame to his family, who are very insular, and they hate being seen in public, and they are still sore about the last time an image of Bigfoot got out, when Eric's grandpa got a picture of him taken in the woods, just going for a fucking stroll. And so it's caused a lot of tension between him and his family to have had that image got out. Anyway, ever since then, Eric has made sure not to be seen in his true form in public ever. He keeps a super tight lid on it. Even right now in the bowling alley, when everybody else just looks like themselves, Eric still looks like human Eric. So human Eric is tall, broad, big, duh. He has very dark eyes, reddish tan skin, and long black hair that he usually keeps tied back in a low ponytail. He is clean shaven. And then later when we see him in Sasquatch form, it is no shock to learn that he has a big long ass beard in place of that clean shaven face. When he's Sasquatch, he's essentially the same size. He doesn't get that much bigger. Like, his clothes stay on. Mm-hmm. He doesn't hulk out, but they are tighter. And a lot of that is because of the amount of fur. But he's big all the time, basically, is what I'm saying. So Hazel and the Ballbusters eventually lose the match, which is, again, bad enough. But the Ballbusters also have to endure the absolute gross flirtations of this substitute player on the Lane Rangers. So the guy who usually plays the MMC from the first book, he's got a date tonight, probably with the hot divorcee from the first book. And he sent over a guy named Matt, and Matt is a human, and he's gross. He's like Jay from Jay and Silent Bob, but without being endearing.
But with zero of the charm.
Yes, none of the charm. None at all. He's disgusting. He makes lewd comments. He double entendres if you are lucky. There may just be single direct entendres. And he's generally just kind of greasy and disgusting. None of the other Lane Rangers like him either, but they're all just sort of just get through the fucking night and get out of here, man. This guy sucks. After the game and all the banter and the exposition and everything that we learned at the end of the game, Hazel heads out to her car, but she is caught in the parking lot by greasy Matt. Matt has come out to proposition her. Very little preamble. He's just like, hey, sorry you lost, but maybe I can be your win for tonight. And she's like, no, ew. And no, absolutely not. And he immediately starts getting aggressive. She can tell as as many fat person before has experienced, he's mad because he thought that a fat lady should just take any bone thrown at her feet. And the fact that she's not immediately like, someone wants to give me and my fat body a little bit of attention, he gets mad and aggressive. He grabs her by the wrist and she goes to swing on him. She's like, oh, thank God, finally a good reason to punch this guy. But before she can make contact, a really loud growl comes from the shadows nearby. And they look up to see Eric, who has found them in the parking lot and is very unhappy with the way that Matt is treating Hazel. He tells Matt to leave, and Matt does because he's a coward. But because he's a coward, he has to have some parting shot. So as he walks away, he says, I don't like fat bitches anyway. 2 seconds ago, you were trying to get it in, but you don't like her? All right, whatever.
Yeah, no, you should have said, I don't like women who reject me.
Exactly.
That's more accurate.
And Hazel's fist is halfway to Matt's face, but the growling intensifies. Eric starts to flicker like a bad TV. Mm-hmm. And for a moment, he's Eric, and then he's Sasquatch Eric, and then he's human Eric over and over until he just settles on Sasquatch. And he is huge. He is intimidating. He is absolutely terrifying. His teeth get sharp, I think. Like Sasquaric. Yes. As far as Hazel knows, this is the first time Eric has been in his true form in years in public. Eric grabs Matt by the throat and lifts him off of the ground and tells him all the usual stuff. Never come back. This is not how Lane Rangers behave, let alone how we treat women. Fuck you. Fuck off. I never want to see your face again. And Matt gets his phone out and he starts recording, like, say it again, Bigfoot, tell the world who you really are. And he just sets him down and picks his phone up and chucks it across the parking lot. Like, okay.
Yep.
I'm not threatened by you. Fuck you. No. Fuck off.
And I know you're not smart enough to set up cloud storage.
Oh, not immediate cloud storage.
No.
Anyway, so Matt runs away, pants pissed, I'm sure.
Pants full of piss.
Yep. And Hazel is just standing there frozen in the parking lot, completely dumbfounded because Eric defended her. Not only did he defend her, he seemed to be angry on her behalf when she was insulted, and now he's looking at her with an expression she really can't identify.
Oh, is it because he has secretly harbored an affinity for her this whole time?
One may consider.
Okay, let's find out.
Come on, don't spoil the ending.
No, it's just, this is the third season now.
Yeah, we know what's coming.
I've learned some stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Just because it's a formula doesn't mean it's a bad formula.
No, of course.
We've talked about this.
Yes. Eric gives her a once-over to make sure that she's okay. She is very confused by how his gaze seems to linger on certain parts of her and how it's making her feel. He's supposed to be her mortal enemy, but for some reason, he's given her like a little thrill, and that's confusing to her. Anyway, so he apologizes for taking the opportunity away from her to punch Matt.
Yes. Good apology.
Yeah. And asks if she is all right to go home on her own. She says, yes, absolutely. She's very prickly. She pushes away all of his concerns. She, again, is just mad that she didn't get the opportunity to punch the guy before he ran away.
Go get him. I'll bring him back.
Yeah. But she's absolutely fine. She doesn't need any help, and she certainly doesn't need help getting home. Goodbye. So she turns to go and get in the car, and he's like, yeah, no doubt. You can absolutely take care of yourself. But all the same, he turns to leave, and he says, watch for deer. Which, to Hazel and to a lot of people in the Midwest and Appalachia and places that aren't as well as urban, is you might as well be saying, take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Or I love you.
Yeah. It's pretty typical here in Michigan as well.
Yeah. Watch for deer means be careful out there. That's a thing you say to your family. That's a thing you say to your friends. That is not a thing you say to your mortal enemy. So she drives all the way home like, what the fuck did he mean? Watch for deer. What did he mean? Hazel goes home. She is confused. She is exhausted. Again, she's been working too hard and not getting enough sleep, but she's also weirdly horny. And she spends a couple of hours online trying to find literally anything to latch this like weird Sasquatch fantasy onto so it doesn't have to be attached to Eric in any way. But she can't really.
Please tell me she didn't masturbate to Harry and the Hendersons.
Oh, gross. Ew.
Okay.
No, ew. Gross. Anyway, so there's not much. She can't really find anything. The porn is bad, like what she can find. She's like, the costumes are awful. The acting is bad. The lighting's bad. I can't watch this. It's awful. And so she just ends up going to bed sexually frustrated. She spends the next day the day is an absolute wreck. So first she works 2 of her jobs. So she has a serving job at a local tavern called Bad Shepherd, where she's just mixing up orders and spilling coffee all day. Her second job is reading tarot online for clients. She is not a seer. She can't read tarot. She looks at this as a performance in a use of her acting skills more than anything, and a basic understanding of what the cards mean. And then she just sort of spins it into what she thinks the client wants to hear.
All right.
It's how she makes money. But she ends up misreading cards on one of her calls with one of her regular clients, and she looks very foolish. So she's having a very bad day. Then, during the late afternoon, when she probably should be taking a nap in preparation for her night shift, where she stocks shelves at the Holler General. That's very funny. That's very funny. She decides that she needs some pepperoni rolls from the snack bar at Starlight Lanes.
Oh, that sounds fun. First of all, shout out to our Starlight Lanes in Flushing. But pepperoni rolls. Oh, yeah, that sounds good.
It's just a big roll of bread filled with cheese and pepperoni, man. It's fucking perfect.
Get yourself some good marinara.
So good. I mean, we're from Michigan, so a lot of people would want ranch. Ugh. We're not ranch people. But anyway, so she decides she wants those pepperoni rolls, and maybe she can get in a couple of throws on the lanes while she's eating. She goes there. She goes to the Starlight Lanes. However, the bowling alley is packed and it's loaded with like children's parties.
Oh no.
So it's loud, it's crazy in there, and her favorite lane number 24, all the way down at the far end where she usually bowls by herself, is taken by Eric fucking Sasqui. And she's like, God damn it. She goes to turn around, but he has already seen her. And she's like, I just came to get some pepperoni rolls to go. He's like, you're holding your shoes and bag. Hazel, if you want to bowl, just come over and bowl on the lane with me. And she agrees because he challenges her. If you challenge Hazel, she will do the thing because she cannot be told that she's incapable. So she bowls with him, and it turns into a really chill hang really quickly. And Hazel's super surprised at how well the conversation flows, how well they seem to like understand each other. I wouldn't be surprised really because they're from a small town. So you only know so many people, but so they talk about a lot of stuff. They share pepperoni rolls, and they talk about Hazel's little sister, Claire, who was a high school basketball star at the same time that Eric was, but she never got the same kind of recognition that Eric did, even though she was the one to break Eric's high points record, like the record for the most points in a season.
Mm-hmm.
Claire broke that record, but she didn't get the kind of recognition that Eric did. However, Eric tells Hazel that he was at the game where Claire beat his record. He always thought that she deserved more recognition and that he was proud of her. Mm-hmm. And Hazel's like, whoa.
I love it in sports when a record holder, like somebody who's held a record for a long time, mm-hmm. has their record broken, and they're like, fuck yeah, man. That's awesome. I'm glad for you.
Well, yeah.
That makes me happy. You don't always see it.
No.
But
I mean, sometimes people get angry or jealous. They feel selfish about their pride. But Eric's not like that. Eric says that the coach and the other players always used to talk about how great Claire was and how good she was for this school and for this sport, and I agree. And so Hazel is completely caught off guard because her little sister is so important to her. Then they talk about Eric's family, the Sasquis. They are very traditional, close-knit. They live together in the caves around that surround the town. Mm-hmm. A lot of unexplored cave systems in Appalachia. Yeah. So that makes sense. There could be a whole Bigfoot community down there and nobody would know a goddamn thing.
If you asked me to guess which state in this country had the most like unexplored, like we just don't know. Mm-hmm. And we always think about that in like other parts of the world. Mm-hmm. I think West Virginia is probably housing most of that land.
I would say Virginia, West Virginia, Kentucky, somewhere in Appalachia.
Yeah.
where the mountains just go on forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some deep tree roots in
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. There's some old dirt in those mountains. Like I said, the old gods still fucking live there.
Oh yeah.
So the Sasquis, they're a very large family. They own a construction business and a couple other things around town. So when Eric graduated high school, he got a job with his dad's construction company right out the bat. Easy peasy. He still works for the family business, but he doesn't live with them anymore. He chose to move out and get his own place almost as soon as he could. After the picture was leaked a few years ago, he and his family now considers him the embarrassment, and he always will be to them, and he is okay with that now. He has grown up and made peace with the fact that his family are never really going to accept him.
Yeah. Because he's the one who stole the picture and posted it online. Yeah.
Because he had the audacity to be himself in public.
Ah, yeah.
And
that's
somebody saw.
That's the real problem.
That's the real problem. He makes a joke then about parents. He says, you can't live with them, you can't live without them. And then the conversation comes to a screeching halt because he forgot for just a moment that Hazel's parents are dead.
Yeah.
Hazel and Claire's parents died in a car accident right after Hazel graduated from high school. Very sudden, very difficult for her. She has been taking care of Claire ever since. So Hazel has this emotional rupture. She starts to panic. The realities of her life all kind of come crashing down on her all at once. And he says, I'm sorry, I know that must have been rough. And she's like, yeah, it was really fucking rough. Like, it was rough when the people who were supposed to be with me forever, they left. You know, that was really rough when I had to take care of my sister when I was only 18. Like, she really loses her shit on him. And that's, you know, it's okay. She's having a lot of feelings, but she does end up attacking him a little bit and saying, you know, like, I have to work 3 jobs just to make the ends meet for me and Claire. And you just got a cushy job handed to you by your parents. So fuck you. Like, you have no idea what rough is. And then she gets up and walks away. She basically leaves a Hazel-shaped hole in the wall as she leaves. The next morning, she starts her shift at the restaurant she works at, Bad Shepherd. She has a brief conversation with her bosses, who are the owners. They are a married couple named Carl and Lucian, and it's a very funny joke. One of them is a goat man, and the other one is a chupacabra. And that's funny because chupacabra means goat sucker. Yeah, I bet you are.
I was waiting for the joke.
Anyway.
Because I didn't know that about that word.
Yeah, chupacabra means goat sucker. So the chupacabra and the goat man getting together is extra funny to me. Anyway, so one of them tells her that someone is in her section waiting for her, wink, wink, and she goes out to find Eric. He is there waiting on breakfast, and he wants to know what she thinks is best, so she gives some recommendations. He orders this huge breakfast, and he's super sweet and charming with her the entire time, which just really fucks with her head. Just fucks her right off, because she tells Lucian at one point, she's like, he is my mortal fucking enemy. He has been since I was 11. I don't like this man. He can't be nice to me. I hate this man. At the table, he starts calling her by her name. He starts calling her Hazel, which fucks her off even more because he's been calling her Red since 10th grade, when he had convinced the entire school to call her Reed the Red after they did their Viking section in history. So the fact that he calls her Hazel, and the way her name sounds in his mouth and the way he looks at her when he says her name, she's like, I can't do this. I can't. Goodbye. So she tells him, you aren't supposed to be nice to me. You can't do this. You can't be nice to me. And he tells her to give him one good reason why he can't be nice to her. And she finally, she snaps and she says, because I'm the one who sold your picture to that fucking tabloid.
A genuine twist I did not see coming.
Yeah. She tries to run away, but he snags her by the wrist to get her to stay still. He doesn't hurt her or anything, but he asks her, like, what the fuck? And also, why the fuck? And also, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know? And she is really embarrassed. She tries to get out of telling him, but he is genuinely asking what would put her in need of something like that, because he knows that she's not a bad person, and he thinks that she owes him at least an explanation. She says that when their parents died, Hazel ended up staying in town to take care of Claire instead of going to college. Claire did go to college, though. When she graduated, she got a basketball scholarship, an athletic scholarship. Her senior year of college, she got injured. She was prescribed opiates for the pain, and we all know how that pipeline goes. Yeah. She got really sick. The addiction became worse. She moved home. Hazel tried to put her in a bunch of local rehabs, but the rehab system in West Virginia is not great.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably in ground zero of the opioid crisis.
Exactly.
It's probably not super great.
Yeah, it's really just it's recruitment ground for dealers. They stand outside the front door and wait for you to be released, basically. So Hazel says she knew that if she was ever going to help her sister, really help her sister, she had to get her further away. Claire ended up having an overdose. Hazel saved her. But that was it. That was the tipping point. She stole that picture, she sold it, and she got her sister into rehab much farther away. Claire is doing really well, but the money's still hard to come by. Those programs are not cheap, and she is struggling. She still can't do it, but she does not regret selling that picture. She would do it again because she needs to save her sister, she says, at any cost. And he eventually leaves, and she's like, good, now he'll leave me alone. Now he really hates me. Finally.
Good.
But he's back again the next morning, sitting in her section, ordering his big old breakfast and asking her to come and sit down and have a chat. Her bosses are like the adorable meddling gay couple kind of gay couple, so they're like, oh honey, it's fine, go sit.
Go take a break.
And she's like, I could do this. I could descale the coffee pots. I could clean the grease trap. Like, just don't let. They're like, no, it's fine. Go. I hate you. 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 So she goes out. She sits down with him, and Eric asks how much she got paid for that picture. She says $2,500. He then asks how much she thinks people would pay to see him naked. And does she want to take naked pictures of him for an OnlyFiends account? Which is, again, a great pun. OnlyFiends.
This is a wild escalation.
Yes, I love it. I love it so much. So she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Homie, you're not making any sense. And he tells her, you know what? That picture that you released was actually awesome. I was myself. I was happy. I was celebrating a win at the bowling alley. I have never liked being in hiding. I don't want to hide myself, but my family is all about the hiding, and it's fucked me up my whole life. I want to be more open about who I am. And if I had my way, I would just like go be Sasquatch out in the real world, but that's never going to happen. So I stay in Mistwood for a lot of the same reasons that you did. We all stayed because of family. He tells her that he understands what it means to give up on your dreams because you love your family. And now he would like to help her own family by selling naked pictures of himself to pay for her rehab.
It's the best possible solution.
It really is. It's the best, most convoluted solution
I love
any Sasquatch has ever come up with. Ever.
He sat down with a legal pad and wrote down a bunch of ideas, none of which were that, before finally hitting upon it.
Yep.
And going, this is the way I endear the woman who hates my guts to me.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. And she is like, okay, why would you want
same question
to do that? I am your mortal enemy. And he starts laughing at her. And she's like, don't laugh at me. We're mortal enemies.
Yep.
Stop flashing that adorable dimple you have when you smile. This is serious.
I think I see where this is going.
He's like, I don't hate you. What the fuck are you talking about, crazy lady? Like, we've always just been competitive.
That's not what she said, Eric. She said you're her mortal enemy.
Yeah.
She never said that you hated her.
Oh, he did. She did. At some point, she was like, okay. You hate me. We hate each other. He's like, sure, we've always been like really competitive and the chirp game is on point, right? But I don't hate you. It's just that you really don't like to lose. And every time you lose to me, I'm your mortal enemy some more.
Yep.
And she's like, I can never let him know he's right. Because it's true. He's not her mortal enemy. She's just really competitive.
Yeah.
The following afternoon, he picks her up from Bad Shepherd after her shift, and they drive out to the property in the middle of nowhere woods out of town where he lives. This is where they're going to do their Sasquatch pinup shoot. So she's agreed to do this. We take a moment first to admire the craftsmanship of the cabin that Eric built with his own 2 hands. It's always with a lumberjack story.
Of course, yep.
They got to build their own cabin.
All these fuckers just know how to build cabins.
Right. Well, his dad does work for a construction company, so I guess it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
He works for a construction company. But either way, so they don't go inside that house, though. They go out to the back of the property. They're going to take pictures in the woods because Hazel thinks that will appeal to the traditionalists who want to see Bigfoot naked in the woods, right? Yeah. Eventually, they go walking through the woods. They look for a good place to take a few pictures, and they chat as they go. Like, it's not really flirtatious. It's super awkward crush conversation. It's very real, very, very awkward. But eventually, for some reason that neither Hazel or I really understand, Eric suggests that they play a game of truth or dare to take their minds off of things.
Like you do.
Why not? Hazel eventually agrees and we start the game. I just bulleted the game for us. So first, Eric picks dare. Hazel dares him to stay in his true form for the rest of the day. She points out to him that they are on his property in the middle of nowhere in the woods. He has no neighbors around for miles, but he's still masking himself right now. You're a little fucked up, dude. You need to be yourself more. I dare you to be yourself all day, basically. Next, Hazel picks truth. He asks, have you ever wanted to see me naked? No, of course not. But that is a lie. He calls her on that lie, and she finally admits that maybe once she was curious because, he's a Sasquatch. You'd be curious too, right? But he doesn't really believe that she's as nonchalant about it as she's trying to be. Mm-hmm. Next, Eric picks truth. Same question. Have you ever wanted to see me naked? He asks, would you believe me if I said yes? No, Hazel absolutely does not believe him, but he definitely has wanted to see her naked many times before. Finally, Hazel picks dare. I dare you to kiss me. Of course.
The escalation. So at this point in the conversation, they have found the spot for the photo shoot, and Eric, he sort of skirts this into a joke about like trying to get himself in the mood. He just needs just kiss me a little bit. I need to get myself revved up, basically. But it's an awesome kiss. They have a fantastic chemistry together. Hazel starts moving around him, taking like test shots, trying to avoid direct eye contact with him. When he dares her to kiss him, she has no idea what to do with that information. Like, she wants to, but she doesn't understand why she wants to, or if he's messing with her, or if it's real. So, like, eventually she just backs off, and he says, well, I guess you forfeit then and I win. You can't tell that to Hazel. So now she kisses him. She can't forfeit shit. She can't lose. She's way too competitive. So she kisses him. And again, like I said, the kiss was fantastic. But of course, it was just a dare. She didn't feel anything. No, absolutely not. Not at all. Until she finally cracks. Her, like, the foot pop moment happens. Like, the warmth starts seeping into her bones. The kiss feels so good and right. And she compares it to that final moment in Singin' in the Rain where Dan and Kathy kiss. And I was like, this bitch needs to be my friend. At that moment, I started texting her. I was like, Eden, we need to be friends immediately. Because I loved that. I love Singin' in the Rain. It's a great movie. Starring the incomparable Debbie Reynolds. Oh, love her so much. Anyway, so the next chapter is the photo shoot, which means that we get a lot of descriptions of like sexy Bigfoot slowly stripping off of his lumberjack uniform. It's so great. Fucking rules. They take pictures, and eventually she starts taking video to make sure she gets still like the best possible shots. When Eric starts jacking off, as they always knew he was going to start jacking off. It's a fait accompli at this point.
We're making a Bigfoot porn after all. Like, that's the point of this. Hazel tries her best not to like she tries to keep it super professional. She's only looking in the camera. This is like, she's only looking at the angles and the lighting. It's not about Eric or his dick at all, until she realizes that he is not looking at the camera. He is definitely looking at her. And she looks over the camera and makes eye contact with him, and things get very intimate. He ends up jacking off while staring her directly in the eyes. She eventually tells him that he eventually tells her to get on her knees, and she's like, what the fuck, man? For the angle, like, you're still filming for the angle. So she gets down, and yeah, definitely she just needed to get down there for the angle, not because he wanted to look down while he was stroking his dick, you know.
Yeah.
He finishes quite loudly. Sasquatch are very loud, apparently. And she's like, oh no, what do I do with all my horny feelings for Sasquatch now? What do I do? Like, she's really fucked up about the situation. Take that video
home.
So exactly. So that she spends that evening watching that video on repeat and going through every vibrator she has until they're all dead.
They're just laying on the ground smoking.
Yep.
Comically fizzling out.
She's like, I hope that's enough to get Eric out of my system. She sets up the OnlyFiends account at the Harry Heartthrob. Very cute. And spends the rest of the night like organizing and parceling all of that content into tiers and categories.
Did not think that Nizing was coming after Orga. I was expecting Zming.
Nope, organizing. She sets up like the subscription categories and all of the tiers and stuff. And when she's done, she deletes all of the content off of her phone. She's like, won't be needing that anymore. Boop. And she gets rid of all of it.
Get yourself a secure folder.
3 days later, it is mixed league night again. So it's been a week. The Ballbusters in this game thrash the Lane Rangers. Afterwards, in the parking lot, Hazel gets to tell Eric that not only is the OnlyFiends getting noticed, it is going gangbusters. She went back to all of those horny Bigfoot forums that she was on that first night, and she dropped the links, and now all those people are coming to him. They're doing great. They have higher subscriber numbers than either one of them could have possibly hoped for, and Eric is ecstatic.
He gets to put top 1% OF on his place.
That's so nice. So he says they need to meet up soon so they can talk about their next project. And Hazel's like, wait, I thought this was like a one and done thing. But hey, if we're going to keep like making content, I'm going to keep getting money. I'm not feed turning the machine. It down. Yeah. And if he wants to keep like being all sexy in front of her, she's not going to say no. You know, like he might be her mortal enemy, but still, she's still on her mortal enemy bullshit.
Just let that fucking go.
I know, bitch. At his house the next day, they discuss what their next round of content should be for the OnlyFiends. And Eric says he thinks they should sell more than just stills. They should also sell video. And she agrees, but she says fans are going to want like variety of content. I don't know how many ways I can make Bigfoot jacking off look interesting.
I mean, in and of itself.
I mean, right? And he says, no, I think that I should have company in front of the camera. And her first thought is like, no, I do not want to film you fucking your girlfriend. Mm-hmm. No, absolutely not. She is very obtuse about it. And eventually he has to come flat out and be like, you, Hazel, I want you to be in front of the camera with me. And it's just crickets. Like she has no idea how to respond to that. Eventually she says, no, it wouldn't be believable. And he's like, what do you mean? Because you hate me? You're still on your mortal enemies bullshit? What the fuck? No, what do you mean? She says, no, because guys like you don't go for girls like me. The internalized fat phobia has reared its ugly head. He's a hot jock, Bigfoot or not, and she is too fat. Mm-hmm. And he gets down in her face, like they're sitting opposite to each other, and he gets down on the floor so he can get up in her business and stare her dead in the eyes and say, never fucking say shit like that to me again. I will be the first one to tell you that we definitely do go for guys like you or girls like you. And then hi, this is Carl.
Hi, hot jock.
Yeah, he does too.
You're goddamn right I do.
And then he kisses her, and she's like starting to believe maybe he actually means it, because the kiss is again
fire.
They eventually break away, and she realizes that he has been kneeling on one knee in front of her the entire time, and he looks down and realizes that too, and then he says, Hazel Reed, would you make me the happiest man in the world and make a porno with me? So he proposes make a porno, which she accepts eventually. She says, what if I don't want people to see my face? And he's like, oh, I've got the solution for that. And he gets up into a closet and he gets out a box of Halloween decorations and he gives her a mask. It's a half mask that only does the top half of her face, and extends up into sequined bunny ears, which then gives them the idea for the quote unquote plot of what their porno will be. So they set it all up. They make their arrangements. I know that they go and get tested first before anything, and they pick a night that will be appropriate for the weather because they're going to be outside. And then Hazel calls off of work at the Holler General and drives out and gets all dressed. She puts her mask on. She takes her clothes off.
Chat, do you ever have to check the weather report before you fuck?
Right, exactly. So they are going to be doing this on Eric's property. He has trail cams set up all over the place anyway, but he has strategically placed some of them. So they're basically doing a found footage Bigfoot porno.
Oh, I love it.
Didn't I tell you he would love it?
As somebody who went through so many hoops to go see the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
I could do an entire episode. I could speak extemporaneously for 20 minutes on the joy of being able to experience the Blair Witch Project as it like unfolded IRL. Like you could never do it again, like now.
Yeah.
So yeah, TLDR. This is fantastic.
It's fucking amazing. So Hazel strips down to her underwear. She puts on her mask, and Eric instructs her to not stop running no matter what you do. I will guide you to where you need to be. Because she's like, where's my mark?
Oh, yeah. Good theater kid.
Yeah. And
cheat out.
Yep. And then she takes off sprinting through the woods. And she's actually very impressed with her own ability to run. She's like, I'm not a runner. I'm athletic. I'm strong, but I'm not a runner. But I am bolting right now because of all the adrenaline and the excitement. Eric gives her like a little bit of a head start. And then in his Sasquatch form, fully naked, starts chasing her down through the woods. It's a really good and proper chase. It takes a while. She notes that he is literally guiding her by like, he'll slow down a little bit and then he'll speed up and move this way. So that's guiding her to turn that way, basically, until eventually he sort of breaks off and she can't see him anywhere. So she slows down, starts looking behind her. She's really confused, and he ambushes her from the front and takes her down. She never saw it scumming. She never saw it coming. It looks very real for the cameras because it is real. Like the scream is real, and he has strategically placed them exactly where they need to land for the cameras to catch what happens next. So they play up the whole, oh, please, Mr. Bigfoot, don't hurt me thing. And he calls her Bunny the entire time, and it's very primal. It's very aggressive and demanding. He is great at the dirty talking, and Hazel plays the part of the nervous bunny really well simply by being really nervous for real. And so eventually he gets her down on the ground. First he eats her out for a while, but then he stops and he picks her up, and she's like, what the fuck are you doing, Bigfoot? He hoists her up and puts her knees over his shoulders, and he leans her against a tree, and then he eats her out standing up. And she is like, this is the greatest thing ever, because Hazel, like so many of us big bitches out there, has the fantasy of being thrown around like a rag doll. And Bigfoot is capable of doing that. He's able to lift up however 200 and something many pounds of her with no effort at all. So he heats her out against the tree. Eventually she comes and he sets her down, and then he fucks her. So welcome to the Big Dick Club, Bigfoot. And
that tracks.
Or Eric or whoever. Yes, he's Bigfoot, so he has a big dick. He's big all over. It's not unusually large. It's proportionally large. He is very gentle. He works very slowly to make sure that this does not hurt her at all. There's no magic dick situation happening here. But once he is in and she is comfortable, they get fucking rowdy with it. First he just nails this woman to a tree. She comes like 2 more times, and when they finish, so he has her bent over a fallen tree, and he's pulling her hair, and he's like growling, and she's screaming, and they have decided to add a little extra spice to the end of the plot of this porno by making a mating bite moment happen. Sasquatch don't have that, but she thinks that people will like
so
that.
So a little omega,
yeah,
a little
a mating bite thing, whether it's Omegaverse or werewolf or cryptid or whatever. So he bites her, and she like explodes.
Comes like a dump truck.
Yeah, this woman has never had sex like this in her entire life. So Hazel is a boneless puddle of like satisfaction. She feels a very deep and real connection with Eric. She felt like that was very intimate, more intimate than she expected it to be. And then he calls it a wrap, and they stand up, and he's like just slaps her on the butt. And she's like, oh, God, a good game is not what I needed right now. Ouch. Holy shit.
Not great aftercare, Sasquatch.
Not great. So the doubt and the dread and the feelings of inadequacy start to seep into her. They go back to Eric's house. She takes a shower. She's feeling really vulnerable to some of the feelings that she's been locking down for a really long time, in particular, her loneliness. She has friends, sure, but she really only has Claire, who isn't around. She doesn't have any family. And now she's got all these weird, confusing feelings for Eric, and she doesn't know what to do with them. She shuts it all down, decides to just be like a quiet, angsty baby about it in the way that we do sometimes. She puts on some clothes that Eric lent her, and she goes out to the living room to find him. And she finds him reviewing the footage from the trail cams. And she's like, honestly, I was worried. I was worried it was going to be embarrassing or I was going to be awkward or something. This shit is glorious. It is amazing. I can't stop looking at it. We make such a good pair. And he pulls her into his lap, and he's like, don't we look good together? We look really good together, right? They sit and they admire their amateur porno for a little while. They talk a little bit, but it is awkward and uncomfortable. Like, it's not, both of them want a connection that for some reason they're just not able to find.
Yeah.
He makes them dinner. They eat in kind of an awkward silence, and then they settle in so that she can teach him how to work OnlyFans so that he can figure out how the website works as well. So they sit down, they log into the Harry Heartthrob account, and he almost immediately sees a thumbnail for another creator that's just like over on the side or whatever. And it's a woman that he recognizes. He thinks he knows her from town. Hazel is initially like, oh, great, you know this porn star? Fantastic. He's like, no, I think she like shops at the grocery store.
Hey, man, everybody's got to shop for groceries.
Yeah. He asks if she has the location of the Harry Heartthrob like locked the fuck down. And she's like, of course, I'm not an idiot, man. Yeah, it's all locked up tight and secure. So he just wants to know that their information is secure and that his family isn't going to accidentally run across something. But she has taken this to mean, I don't want anybody in town to know that I'm fucking you.
Yeah, of course. Yep.
Of course.
Yep.
And he's like, no, Jesus, what the fuck? Like, calm down. That is not what is going on.
Go to fucking therapy.
Right? And she's like, well, if that's not what's going on, then what is going on? And he eventually comes out and says, I have been in love with you since we were like 10. And that's what it's all like. That's what's happening right now. He says, she's totally blindsided. She doesn't believe him at first because they are mortal enemies, not mortal enemies. What the fuck is going on?
This one-sided.
Seriously. And Eric gives this very passionate speech to her about how loving her has made him better. All of the times that he has excelled, it's because he just wanted her to notice him. And that was the only reason he ever became any good at anything. She is the reason that he is the person that he is. He says that she's the reason he's even good at bowling, because once they graduated from high school, he needed a reason to see her. So he joined a bowling league so that he could at least compete against her in bowling. And she's like frozen in place. He has confessed his love to her without like any doubt or hesitation. She's like, he's not joking. I can't see the joke. I can't see the lie. What the fuck? I guess I have no other choice but to believe him. This must be true. And I'm just going to pause here point out that rather than tell her any of this at any point during the last 10 years of their friendship, he cooked up a convoluted scheme to get her to take naked pictures of him and fuck him in the woods.
Yeah, that's
Eric,
called playing the long game.
Eric, buddy, you made it so complicated for yourself. Oh man!
Again, the Rube Goldberg mechanics of the relationships in this book.
Seriously, it's so good. So he has confessed his love to her. She believes him. They kiss. He picks her up again, like she weighs nothing, which is a thrill for her. He carries her to the bedroom and he literally tosses her at the bed, and she's like, "Wee!" And they fuck about it. So she sucks his dick, which is a challenge and one that she is happy to take on, but I am glad at least that it is mentioned in the book that it's a big dick and it's hard to suck, because you're always talking about that.
Yeah.
In the books, like, oh, it's big and she's scared about putting it in her vagina, but not her jaw.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. All the FMCs, they can unhinge jaws.
Yeah. So at least in this case, she works her ass off, but she's like, my mouth is sore now.
Yeah.
This is hard work. Anyway, good job, Hazel. I am very proud of you. He then eats her out some more, and eventually he fucks her. And this is a very intense scene with like a lot of prolonged eye contact and promises of forever and love. It was really passionate and special. Eden Crowe does good sex scenes. Well done. The end. That is the end of the book. But there is an epilogue.
Of course.
1 year later. Hazel and Eric are a couple. Everyone in town knows, of course, including her sister, Claire, who has come home from rehab. She's been doing really well, and everybody's very happy for her.
Oh, she got good rehab with that Bigfoot dick money.
Yep. They still have an OnlyFans. They don't put as much content out there, but they do make a decent amount of money, enough for Hazel to quit a couple of her jobs. Claire lived with Hazel for a little while, but now she's doing so well that eventually Hazel moved in with Eric at the cabin. It is once again mixed league night at the bowling alley, and the Ballbusters once again absolutely kick the Lane Rangers' ass. But when Hazel gets her final strike, it is suspiciously silent behind her, and she turns around to find a proposal. Eric has set up a really beautiful like proposal scene with her friends and family all there. He is down on one knee. He asks her to marry him. She says yes. He puts a big old ruby on her finger, and then she gets to be delighted in one-upping him because she's still a competitive little bitch, and telling him that she is pregnant.
Of course.
And that he is going to be a daddy. So much celebration then ensues. There's kissing and Polaroids are taken. And then when Eric goes to the snack bar to order their pepperoni rolls, he has them pin the new Polaroids over the spot where Hazel stole that original picture all those years ago. And all is right with the world. They take their pepperoni rolls to go, presumably to go fuck some more.
Hell yeah.
The end.
Oh.
That was Bowling with Bigfoot. Thank you so much.
That was so much fun.
Yes.
It
was a
great.
delight. It was just goofy, fun, cozy silliness. I loved it so much.
Yeah. I love when I can see like one-to-one analogs of us in the books.
Right? I mean, Hazel Reed is me, basically.
Yeah.
She's just, again, got red hair.
I can pick you up pretty easily.
I mean, yeah.
Which I know that you're into.
Yeah, but what are you into, sir?
None of your fucking business. I'm kidding. Is this you doing like an Uno reverse?
Yes, you have been Uno reversed. What are you into?
Well, I'm going to Uno reverse you because what I'm going to say might be related. What are you? Just tell me what you're into. Just trust me, I might be tag teaming here.
Okay. I don't think you are, because this is going to come out of left field.
Okay.
I am into the song Die With a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars.
Okay.
It has been on repeat in my head and in my heart and in my car for weeks, days. I don't even know how long it's been out. I've heard it so many times. I believe they won a Grammy the other night for it. I think.
I wasn't paying attention.
I know I saw Bruno on stage giving a speech at one point. In addition to Gaga dropping a new single at the Grammys, which was a huge fucking deal. Abracadabra is a great song. Die With a Smile is one of those perfect songs for me. I love it so much. It's got that like 70s crooner and a beautiful woman at a piano singing about love, like Johnny and June.
Yeah.
Kind of aesthetic, and it's gorgeous, and I love it, and it makes me think about you. And for some reason, songs about having someone to hold you when the world ends just hit me.
Oh yeah.
They hit me so hard, and I love it. It's a great song.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's what I am into. What are you into, baby?
That's why I love the song Lovely Allen by the band Holy Fuck.
Yes.
The one that always like it fills me with the vibes of like I can see the entire path of my children's lives from birth to my death. Like and there's no words, but I can just see it. So I know exactly what you mean. That feeling of just like, these are my fucking people. The reason I wanted you to go first was because I wasn't sure if you were going to talk about Dan the Dan.
Oh, yes. That's such a good show.
It's such a great fucking anime. I'm not even going to try and explain it. Just go Google Dan, D-A, Dan to Dan. And then...
all one word. D-A-N-D-A-D-A-N.
Yep. And then click on the link in the show notes to Otonoke.
Yes.
By the Japanese hip-hop duo Creepy Nuts. Yes, that is what they are called.
So good. If you're song right now.
If you're not familiar with the like anime conventions, it is a big deal to have like great opening credits, but specifically a great opening theme.
Yes.
Chainsaw Man, Kickback. The first one that I became aware of was Fooly Cooly, Right on Shooting Star by the Pillows.
Yep.
There's something about anime themes that just fucking go, and this is the theme to Dan to Dan by Creepy Nuts, and it is just fucking unreal. So I'm gonna at least put a link in the show notes for this, like the full song, because the way they edit it for the credits is different. But if I can find just the opening credits of Dan to Dan,
you probably can
as well, I will put it in there because the art style is
it's so cool,
so fucking phenomenal. It defies what I thought anime, even as crazy as anime can be. The art style in the credits and in the show, the way they draw. I can't even remember his name, but when he's like joined with Turbo Granny, it's I did not know that people could conceive of that. Like that's what I just love it, like stuff like that, and basically anything Junji Ito has ever done. I just can't believe that people think of these things. It's fascinating. So that's what I'm into. Otonoke by Creepy Nuts, the theme from Dan to Dan.
Yes. Animes have great opening numbers, basically. They're music videos, and they're worth watching every time. One of my favorites is it's the opening theme to Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. I think it's called Shuni no Mite o Hitai. But it's got this crazy bass line that I really love. It just grooves.
I'll have to find that. And you have not picked out a book?
Yes, I have.
You have? Okay.
I have. So next week we are reading My AI by G.M. Ferry. G.M. Ferry, I have wanted to read Get in My Swamp by G.M. Ferry for so long. Because, yes, it's a Shrek book. But when I went to go and get it this week, it was a little longer than I wanted to deal with. But then I saw this, My AI, a Why Choose Romance with robots. I'm down. Let's do it. So that's what we're reading next week.
And I cannot wait. But in the meantime, you can find us on social media. We are on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. Go check the link in the link tree for all of that. We are taking a step back a little bit from our social media, but we are still there. If you would like to talk to us via email, you can do so, cheapsmutpod@gmail.com. Once this episode hits the main feed, the top link in our link tree will be a link to this book. It is not an affiliate link. We do not get any money for it. If you would like to support us financially on Patreon, you can do so for just $1 like these folks have. Eden Knox, Zach, Zoe Barrett, Emily Purley, Aaron Manak, Miss Chris, Raven, Natasha Bear, Desiree Rodriguez, Local Mind Flayer Seattle, number 42, Kitsune Inc., Cassie, Cassandra, Brian S., April D. Berry, Leah Legend, Dana Goddard, Gemma, Lady Squishy Buns, Tia Esk, Rob Gatika, Angela McNichols, Katie Hurd, Gwendolyn Harper, Seneca O., and Rebecca K. I cannot believe that this list keeps getting longer, and I love having so many people's names to say. The music that you hear in this episode, but not every episode, not much longer, is Nostalgia by Mackay Beats. You can find it along with thousands of songs free of charge for you to use at the Free Music Archive, freemusicarchive.org.
Listener, remember, if there is a book in you, write it. And if there's fucking in it, I'll read it.
And then she'll come on this show and explain it to me for your entertainment.
It's so great to be back for season 3. See you next time. Bye.